Hello everyone and welcome to another video. Today we're actually going to be delving into World of Warcraft and one of the aspects of the game that I absolutely love the most, and that is the zones. Since we're still in the middle of winter here in the UK and I'm still very much in a cozy vibe, today I just wanted to share with you guys my top 5 snowy zones in the game. Please do keep in mind that these are all just my opinion, and absolutely do feel free to share your own in the comments below. I'd really love to hear what your favourite zones are. I won't be bringing too much lore and questing into this, just the visuals, music, nostalgia factor, and overall ambience of the zones. So with all of that in mind, let's get right on with the video. Sitting in number 5, we have Frostfire Ridge. Frostfire is located on Draenor, the home planet of the Orcish race and the former homeworld of the Draenei. It's located in the northwest of Draenor and is the homeland of the notorious Frostwolf clan and renowned members like Draka, Duratan, and Thrall. In modern-day Outland, Frostfire becomes the Blade's Edge Mountains, and if you travel through both zones, you'll be able to see some resemblances, most prominent being the looming jagged peaks and mountains. Frostfire makes my top 5 for many reasons, and overall I would consider it to be somewhat of an underrated zone. Out of all of the zones on this list, this zone definitely sets itself apart, feeling almost like a desert in the way in which its snowy dunes stretch out for miles, coupled with strong, chilling winds that truly give it a desolate and unforgiving feeling. Frostfire is also home to volcanic mountains and menacing Orcish defences. The stark contrast of the frigid, cold environment with the volatile lava flows and billowing smoke and ash fittingly conveys Frostfire as an incredibly harsh and relentless environment. The music also does a lot to emulate this, jumping between delicate piano and powerful war drums, portraying a barren and eerie land inhabited by resilient orc clans born to survive its hardships. Finally, I have quite a lot of nostalgia attached to this zone and this expansion in general. Draenor and the zones within it always make me think of my final years of school, where I'd spend hours upon hours exploring with my friends. I even met my close friend and mod, Manav, during this expansion, and so I hold really fond memories of it. In spot number 4, we have Drustvar. Drustvar makes up the westernmost province of Kultiris and is home to seafaring Vrykul known as the Drust, and humans led under the House Waycrest. When we visit Drustvar, it is at risk of being overrun once more by the evil magics of the Drust, whose powers have been awakened after laying dormant for some time. It is a land of witchcraft, black magic, and mystery, and that is partially what makes it so incredibly fascinating to me. If there is one word to describe this zone, it would be eerie. The lower portion of the zone is covered predominantly by a shadowy, crooked forest, whose wildlife and inhabitants has been cursed by the Drust magic. The shadow cast over this area by the towering mountain behind it hides dark secrets of war and slaughter from times long since past, and foreshadows the struggles that the people of Drustvar will face with the return of the Drust. However, as you ascend the mountainous terrain, you will be met with a stunning view of the northern lights that cascades into a deep orange sunset as you descend back down the other side of the mountain. The skybox in this zone honestly makes it for me, as it so beautifully offsets the dark and ominous surroundings of the village areas at the base of the mountain range. This zone also shows amazing attention to detail, showing the wildlife and the people in the area slowly becoming more and more deranged as you descend closer to the forest. The music in the area is also suitably ominous and tells of the hardships and sadness that the inhabitants of Drustvar have been faced with. Third on our list is Storm Peaks, the northernmost zone in Northrend, easily recognizable by its many snowy mountaintops, overbearing titanic towers, and hordes of protodrakes. Though in current times, the gargantuan mountains known as the Storm Peaks are home to the aptly named Storm Giants, they used to be inhabited by an even grander race, the Titans themselves. They created one of their largest cities here, Ulduar, which later became a prison for the old god Yogg-Saron. It is speculated as well that races like the Dwarves and the Trogs also originate from the Storm Peaks. I am almost certain that this zone would pop up on a lot of WoW players' lists, and honestly I think it's for a very good reason. Storm Peaks is simply stunning, and truly makes you feel like a tiny and inconsequential individual, in a world shaped by titans and gods, and it does so in the best way possible. The mountains that make up the zone tower far above your character, and even when flying through them atop a dragon, you still feel miniature compared to their immense scale. You really get the impression that the Titans once lived here, and therefore everything is scaled up immensely. Not only that, but Storm Peaks earns part of its name from its vast and beautiful yet volatile skies. The skies in the zone are easily recognized by cascading dark clouds and a blanket of stars, but what truly makes them feel so alive is the constant flashing of lightning that feels simultaneously far away and yet also nearby and surrounding you. Personally for me, this zone just has so much going for it. It really feels alive, and is paired with a grand soundtrack to match its grand appearance. As a zone, it's also extremely nostalgic for me, as it's home to the first raid I ever entered in the game with a bunch of my friends, and it's one of my favorites to this day, and that would be, of course, Ulduar. And that brings us to zone number 2, Howling Fjord. Howling Fjord is one of 2 starter zones in Northrend, lying on the southern eastern shore and stretching far north until it meets with Grizzly Hills. The zone is absolutely sprawling and juxtaposes jagged cliff edges and waterfalls with great lakes, caves, and fjords that run through the zone from the mountaintops to the frozen sea. This zone is my absolute favourite in Northrend, as it just has so much variety. From the glaciers along the shorelines, to the soaring mountainsides and wooded areas that are densely populated by wildlife, to the Vrykul settlements that overlook the landscape and wrestle for prominence over the growing dwarven and human ones around the shores. My absolute favourite part about it, though, is the tumbling waterfalls and deep fjords from which the zone gets its name, as they just seem to go on for miles until they reach the icebergs on the ocean, one of which is home to a little group of fjord penguins. On another island to the west, you'll find a settlement called Kamagua, full of Tuskar people and several huge elevators that take you miles upwards to the top of the mountainsides surrounding the central fjord. There is just so much detail in this zone, which makes it all the more amazing because it is absolutely massive. It really has everything you could want from a zone, expansive yet detailed with stunning and dramatic scenery. Though the same could be said for every zone in this video, I would highly encourage you to take the time to explore Howling Fjord for yourself, as there's just so much scenery to be taken in, alongside a soundtrack that elevates the zone's majesty, yet simultaneous peacefulness. So before moving on to the top spot for this list, I wanted to give an honourable mention to Crystal Song Forest. Although it doesn't technically check all the boxes to make it an official zone, it is undeniably beautiful with its delicate music and general tranquility, and of course also being the home to the floating city of Dalaran. The zone is purple and pretty and sparkly, sure, but it also just has so much nostalgia for me, as I spent so much time sitting either in the forest itself or in Dalaran to listen to the music while studying or just relaxing. On top of that, Crystal Song is actually my best friend Mothy's favourite zone in the game. When she was showing me around World of Warcraft, she took me here and told me just how much she loved it, and I guess that just always stuck with me. So yeah, Crystal Song. Go sit there, hang out, I recommend. Finally, my top snowy zone in World of Warcraft just has to go to Kunlai Summit. Kunlai Summit can be found in the northernmost part of the island of Pandaria, shaped by Titans and ancestral home of the Mogu. Now it's home to Mountainhosen, Jinyu, Pandaren, and the Grummels. Kunlai has such a diverse landscape, including golden plains, vibrant coastlines, cascading waterfalls, and most notably its snow-cased mountain peaks, where several Shadowpan monasteries lay hidden and undisturbed by the troubles around them. Kunlai is also watched over by Zuen, otherwise known as the White Tiger, and one of the 4 August Celestials who watch over and protect all of Pandaria. The mountains in Kunlai are also the highest in all of Azeroth, even including a Mount Neverest, a very obvious reference to Mount Everest in Nepal, and I really love the small allusions you can find throughout the zone that keep this reference running. Kunlai has my vote not only for its rich lore and incredible landscapes, but because the first expansion that I ever played was Mists of Pandaria, and it's where my love of World of Warcraft was born. Stepping into Kunlai for the first time left me with a feeling of awe at just how massive the world was. It truly felt endless with how the plains stretch out for miles to meet with mountains that tower sky high, only to plummet into the deep ocean surrounding the Isle of Giants north of Kunlai. I also particularly love how the Mogushan vaults and the other Mogu settlements are embedded into the mountainside, adding a whole underground world to an already massive zone. It also has some of the most beautiful music in the game in my opinion, as, like Pandaria itself, the East Asian and Chinese inspirations are extremely prevalent and make for a gorgeous and intricate soundtrack. As you move from the plains, the music shifts from thundering war drums and gongs to peaceful flute and string instruments to mirror the move from a volatile battlefield to the quiet and secluded mountaintops. I could frankly go on forever about how much I love this zone and Pandaria in general, but I will save you the earache for today. All I can say is please go exploring in this zone. There are just so many references and Easter eggs to be found, and of course, views to be admired. So there you have it, guys. Those are my top 5 snowy zones in World of Warcraft. Please feel free to let me know if you agreed or disagreed, or if you'd add any other zones into your own list. Also feel free to let me know, if you could visit one of the zones from this video in real life, which would it be and why? For me, I think I would probably pick one of my top 2, either Kunlai to visit the mountain shrines, or Howling Fjord to meet the penguins. Thank you so very much for watching this video, guys. I really do hope that you enjoyed it. If you did and you'd like to come back for future videos, please do consider liking, subscribing, and turning on notifications, as it would help me a ton with growing on YouTube. If you're interested, you can also find all of my socials, including my Twitch channel, Twitter, and Instagram under the same name, DeimosThea, and they'll all be linked down below as well. Alright, that's all for now, guys. See you next time. Bye!
Looking back at the good times before it all went down.